In my systematic method of determining which games have kept me entertained the longest, Disgaea 5 ranks in at number 2, right beneath a half-remembered hypothetical. It's the most I've played of a single game, and I've seen all but a handful of post-game events in it. I'm thinking about it because I bought a Switch recently, and the first re-release of Disgaea 5 along with it. I considered buying Breath of the Wild instead, but the sinking feeling I get in my stomach whenever I consider playing yet another Zelda game convinced me away from it. It's been a year and 3/4 since Disgaea 5 was released. Between then and now, Overwatch replaced TF2, Dark Souls had its grand finale, Jonathan Blow made another fascinating puzzler, Pokemon Go rose and fell, No Man's Sky had whatever that release was, along with its subsequent improvements, Doom returned, the Limbo devs made Inside, Stardew Valley reminded everyone that Harvest Moon was fun as hell, VR's come along and gained ground, Fire Emblem's gotten 3 to 4 new games, SMT got its best mainline installment to date, Persona 5 is still riding its initial release hype, though I predict the game's lackluster late game pacing will start to grate on people more in the coming months. Nier Automata was released, fighting games went through a renaissance, Monster Hunter went mainstream, Team Ico finished The Last Guardian, Final Fantasy XV finally released 16, Kingdom Hearts nearly consolidated everything, America elected a new president, survival horror's gotten scary again, and the list goes on and on. A lot of big things happen in a year and a half, and it's really easy to get swept up in the currents of the current and the winds of change and forget the tides of history. So let's forget all that and talk about Disgaea 5 instead. As with the previous Disgaea games, Disgaea is a turn-based grid-aligned Japanese role-playing game. The Disgaea series distinguishes itself from its contemporaries with its high level caps, vibrant color scheme, and visual novel-adjacent segments. Mechanically, it differs in the way that it gives the player the ability to lift and throw party members and level up weapons. The strategy RPG that the Disgaea series bears the most resemblance to is Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics is similarly turn-based, grid-aligned, isometric, and Japanese. The two games also both have story-based party members mixed with generic classes and units that can be leveled up in multiple classes. Disgaea 5 differs from other Disgaea games by having higher level caps for items, the ability to create units above level 1, allowing units to increase in class tier without reincarnating, and in continuing to flesh out the cheat shop first introduced in Disgaea 4 Promise Revisited. The item world now makes it so a player has to clear a floor in the item world to level up the item rather than just needing to advance to the next floor. The Schir world now takes the form of a randomized board game rather than being just another item world. Additionally, characters now have a revenge meter which functions as a sort of limit break. This contrasts with the friendship meters the characters had in previous installments. The revenge meter has two aesthetic effects on the player. First, it caters to the edgelord in me in the same way as emo haircuts Linkin Park in mid-2000s AMVs, which is always nice. And second, it serves to heighten the sense of gamifying an anime. Speaking of, let's talk about how Disgaea gamifies anime. Specifically, it gamifies a long-running shounen anime. In a long-running shounen anime, protagonists will train to become more powerful, obtaining new power levels and forms as they train. Sometimes, it requires the death of a comrade for a shounen protagonist to unleash their true power. Heroes will gain new techniques as they train, and they'll become more powerful with their skills over time. There is no upper limit to the power an anime protagonist can obtain through training. Attacks become progressively more over the top as the author runs out of new ways to make fights interesting. Just when it seems like the protagonist is the strongest being there can be, it's revealed that there's an entire dimension of power where the protagonist is just barely an insect by comparison. Disgaea takes these ideas to their logical conclusion. Every character class has 5 palette-swapped forms, each slightly stronger than the last, that unlock at ever higher levels of power with higher base stats and better weapon proficiencies. Most skills are determined by a character's proficiency with a weapon, but wizards, monsters, and thieves have special abilities that unlock alongside power level. Skills can be both leveled up and powered up. Leveling up a skill reduces its SP cost, while powering it up increases its damage. For fighters, abilities range from hitting an enemy 3 times to tossing a sun at them. For wizards, abilities range from Cast Frost Ray to calling upon the power of the gods to burn an enemy in the core of a star-going supernova. For thieves, skills range from Steal Item to Steal Item. Sorry, thieves. Just when your characters have attained level 9999, the Carnage Dimension is revealed. That super powerful item that you found hidden in the depths of the soul of another item? Worse than the shittest tier item from the Carnage Dimension. When characters take damage or see another character die, their revenge meter fills, eventually allowing them to unleash a secret technique special to them. This is all anime as fuck, to use the colloquial. However, as I said in a previous video, Disgaea is, at its core, a comedy. A unit's strongest form is only marginally better than their base form. You have to gather a delegation of monsters together and jointly determine how strong the monsters you encounter should be. Every piece of equipment is a training arc, literally in itself, and every item has more items within it. Between the main party and the monsters, there's an unspoken arrangement best exemplified by the Dark Assembly. The player proposes ideas to the monsters, who vote on whether they're for or against it in a demonic parliament. There's a narrative to the game, sure, but it's all a play put on by the characters and monsters. The game takes place in the Netherworld, hell, but the demons are all quite civil about their combat, taking turns and waiting patiently and all that. These are all digs at RPG conventions, as well as amusing ideas in their own right. They might be a bit passé in a post-Spoony 1, post-self-aware RPG world, but Disgaea predates these things and interprets them in a way that still comes across mostly fresh. I am Schir, thank you for watching.